G'day, I'm Gavin from Hurley's Fly Fishing. If fly fishing is something you want to get into, you want to do a course with us. We'll take you up to New G and we'll teach you how to catch trout. $99, get in touch with us and we'll teach you how to be a superstar fly fisher. Yep. Whoa!
Here comes. Yeah.
Isn't it funny how a day pans out? G'day, I'm Gavin Hurley from Pro Angler and welcome to another episode of On The Fly. Today we're at Currawong Lakes, which is a private fly fishery about 40 minutes from Launceston, obviously down here in Tasmania. We've got an early flight and it's amazing how close and accessible Tasmania is for all of us. It's a private fishery. It's got about 3 lakes that are stocked with brown and rainbows, and you get some amazing dun hatches, throughout the year as well. So it's a little bit light on at the moment. We need a little bit more cloud cover, funny enough, to get these duns popping. So we're just going to start off with a few woolly buggers because there's a lot of mud eyes in these lakes. So we'll hopefully put some in front of these browns or rainbows and get to them to take it and show you what some of these fantastic Tasmanian trout are really like. It's quite important when you do get to the water's edge that you don't just race out and wade as deep as you can and throw your line as far as you can. The fish are literally, and they can be, right at the edge. So this is where a lot of food's going to get washed in. Wave action's going to stir up the dirt and nymphs and all that sort of stuff. So before you even get in the water, look right along the edge, all through these weeds. You're going to find fish all through them, particularly if there's not too much sun as well. So just take it easy once you get to the water's edge and you'll be surprised what you can find. Now it always pays when you do retrieve that you do vary it, so it's not constant. So imagine if you're a little injured bait fish, you'd be trying to swim and darting along. So you do maybe a little strip and then a short one, so it's just struggling the whole time. And just vary the retrieve and eventually you're going to get a retrieve method that's going to tempt the fish into taking that fly. Always, just when it gets near that end, that little bit of a lift, and it just raises that fly up in the water, and it just gives the fish anyway thinks that it's just about to get away, and it'll make that desperate little lunge right at the end. You can get a lot of hookups that way. I've just had a big brown in here follow. I've got the black woolly bugger on, so I've had him follow that a couple of times without really committing to it. So he'll have his own little beat, so he wouldn't have gone too far. Even in a lake like this, they'll still hang around their own little area, but obviously it needs like a fly change. So I'm going to swap to like a magoo, which will have a little bit more movement, and I'm going to a different colour. So in a green as well. It could be something, just a minor change. Obviously got his interest in a fly very similar, so I'll go down to something a bit smaller, change the colour, and sometimes that can make all the difference. So yeah, fingers crossed, we'll put this one in front of him. There it is there. Still there. Whoa, just almost at my feet. I'd just been retrieving that woolly bugger, and sometimes that can happen. Once it gets very close to the edge, obviously they decide they better get it before it gets away, and that's happened just there. So we've got it's a black woolly bugger. We were using a brown, and we thought we'd just swap to a black just to get that a different colour, might stand out a bit more, and it's certainly done the trick here. And he's not a massive fish, but plenty of power in them. They're great. These are rainbows. He'll easily be 3 to 4 pound. And just a good solid fighter. If you do have a lot of weed and sticks, then it does pay to get that line back on the reel, and that's going to stop it getting caught up. So hold that rod high, keep the pressure on. We've got a big log here that we want to try and keep him out of the way of that log. Alright, so now once you do get him on the reel, you get all that line wound up, and then you can let that reel do the work. Once you've got a decent reel, like that's a Gavin, which is probably one of the best in the world, once you get that drag set, that's never going to let you down. That rod high and just wear him out. We want him to almost be flapping about on top of the surface, and that's when you can slip that net under and get him there. And when you are by yourself, and this is quite a long leader, I've got about a 12 footer with a bit of tippet on there, so we do eventually, when you're by yourself to net, have to wind that nail knot through the guides. Just want to make sure that you've got rid of his last lunges before you do that. Then it's just a matter of keeping his head up high, keeps him out of the weed, away from any danger. And he'll be ready in a minute. We don't want to lunge at him with that net. We want to virtually just bring him to the net there and scoop him up like that. And that's how it's supposed to work in the movies. So that one went to plan, which is fantastic. So it's a great Currawong Lakes rainbow there. I'll get him out and give you a closer look. All right, I like to get that fly out while they are in the net, a little bit contained. And yeah, a lovely fish. They do vary from water to water, but all rainbows have that lovely red stripe. Sometimes it's more prominent, particularly around when they're spawning, but all have these spots on the tail. So that signifies a rainbow. But we'll get him back in. We won't hold him out too long. You want to get a photo, do what you got to do, and then get them back in. So you're right. And he's good to go. And even in lakes, even though there's no current, just hold them up. We don't want them to tip on the side. Hold that fish upright, and he'll get his breath back, and let him swim off of his own accord. And he's good to go already. So they're ready to swim. Terrific. Well, that was good, and that's what fly fishing's about. You're persisting with something. We thought a woolly bugger's going to work, so we persisted with that. We might look to try nymphs or something as well afterwards, but for the moment that one's worked. We'll see if we can't find another one just around that next bend.